All right, let's get right into it. Let's get some reaction to the monologue. We've got Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming. He's also a doctor, not only a senator. Welcome, Senator.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm really curious to hear your take because you do hold two very distinct jobs. And what a critical conversation we're having right now. Where do you fall in the vaccine debate?
Well, as a doctor, I believe all children should be vaccinated. We're talking about measles, mumps, and rubella, the shots that kids get at age 12 months to 15 months, and then a second vaccination between ages 4 and 6. I think it's critical. Measles is a terrible disease. We know last year across the world over 140,000 people died of it, and the vaccine can prevent it.
And it was pretty much done here in this country. But what about parents who say, wait a second, I get a voice here. I get to choose what I put in my child's body. Do you think parents should be forced to give their kids the vaccine?
Well, if parents came to me now for a second opinion, my second opinion would be the same as the first opinion, which is I believe all children should be vaccinated.
Should the state force them to do that if they have objections?
Well, I believe that as a doctor that the best thing is for all children to be vaccinated.
So should there be a law that requires parents to vaccinate their children?
Well, we dealt with that in the state of Wyoming, where if a child wanted to go to school in the public schools, they had to be vaccinated.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the budget that the president floated yesterday. It seems like it's pretty much going to be dead on arrival in Congress. Was there anything in there that you liked?
Well, we're still working our way through it. You may have seen the pictures. It is a long document. To me, it's debt on arrival and dead on arrival in the Senate. It really seemed to me like a liberal wish list masquerading as a budget. The president wants to spend $4 trillion. We've never spent that kind of money before in the United States. He's raising taxes on many hardworking American taxpayers, specifically in the middle class. And people don't feel like they're getting good value for their money now, for their taxpayer dollars. And taking a look at this budget, that's the same situation after reading it.
All right, and he doesn't handle entitlements, doesn't tackle them head on, but does give a 4.5% increase in military spending and also a big infrastructure boost. My worry is that Republicans will bite and this bipartisan spending will get out of control. How do we control that?
Well, basically, we start with a Republican House and a Republican Senate. My colleague Mike Enzi from Wyoming is the chairman of the Budget Committee. The president's budget never balances. We're going to start over and look at responsible budgeting because you know that government, when it comes to growing an economy, it can either create opportunity or can crush opportunity, and a lot has to do with mandates, regulations, and taxes. And the taxes that the president puts forth are very heavy-handed, I believe, excessive, and will hurt our economy. We know that growth is very slow in this country, and I believe it's because of the role the government has been playing that has actually made things worse.
I agree with you, and I think some of the corporate taxes that he's pushing, I think that's just going to send a handwritten note inviting corporations to take their money elsewhere, regardless if he's going to tinker with the territorial tax system.
Well, we need tax reform across this country. We know that we need to simplify the tax system, but I think you're absolutely right. People are going to take their money and seek opportunity elsewhere. We see that we have one of the highest corporate tax rates in the world, and that's continuing to get worse under this president.
All right, I know you might have some objections about the House repealing the ACA. What would you do if you were president with Obamacare?
Well, as a doctor and somebody who's worked very closely with patients, I think that the president's health care law is not really helping our country. What we have seen, and the president met today at the White House with 10 people who wrote letters that said that it helped them. Well, for every person that says they were helped by the health care law, we know there are more than that have been harmed by the health care law. I think, well, number one, the president ought to listen to them.
Yeah, well, there aren't stadiums big enough to fill all the people who have been negatively affected by Obamacare. Senator Barrasso, I really want to thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Indeed.